Welcome to CCCC Library's presentation on OER and ChatGPT. I am going to tell you about unveiling advantages and addressing challenges. I'm Allison Sills, and I'm the instructional librarian at CCCC's Lee campus. Please feel free to email me at any time at asills@cccc.edu. So what exactly are OER? OER stands for Open Educational Resources, and they are materials for teaching or learning that are either in the public domain or have been released under a license that allows them to be freely used, changed, or shared with others. That means that someone can create a learning tool and has offered it for free online. The reason to use OER in the classroom is that it increases access by providing free resources to your students. And this ensures that all students, regardless of socioeconomic background, have equal opportunities to learn. OER are also flexible and adaptable, allowing instructors to tailor content, and AI is making tailoring content much easier. So what is AI and ChatGPT? AI stands for artificial intelligence and is the simulation of human intelligence processes by machines. Traditional AI focuses on performing tasks intelligently. Examples of traditional AI include Siri and Alexa, which some of you may have. These AI have been trained to follow specific rules to do a particular task. Generative AI is the next generation of AI. It differs from traditional AI because it can create something new. ChatGPT is a form of generative AI. It is an AI tool that allows users to enter simple prompts to receive human-like text in return. Other AI programs can also create images and videos, and one of the image creators is called DALL-E, but there are many other AI out there that compete with these programs like Bard, which is the text generator that Google started. Programs like Bard and ChatGPT allow you to take OER content that you might find online and with some simple prompts, tailor that to suit any specific needs you may have for your class. Okay. Oops. These two ideas, OER and ChatGPT, they intersect in several ways. So I'm going to tell you about three today. Where to find OER on the subject of ChatGPT and AI if you want to learn more about it, and how to use ChatGPT and AI to write or modify existing OER. And finally, how to identify ChatGPT and AI generated content in OER and why it matters or not. So let's talk about where to find OER on the subject of ChatGPT and AI. Here are some links for OER content, and I'd like to take a look at a couple of these. The first one is OER Commons. This is a great resource for locating OER on any subject, and I'll show you an example right now. This is OER Commons, and this is where you'll be able to find OER content on any subject that you might be looking for. But today, let's look and see what they have on ChatGPT. You can type in your search words here. You can type if you wanted to narrow it by a subject or an educational level. But let's go ahead and just see what they've got on ChatGPT. There are 18 results in OER Commons. And I love these because they tell you if you use OER content going forward, these are the licenses this person wants to be credited if you use this OER with a by right here. But these are books or resources that you can read about ChatGPT more and find out more about it. So this is OER Commons. And I'll show you Merlot as well. Merlot has a very simple interface. You just type in what you're looking for. And this one has 55 results, including essays, This result here shows you Bard versus ChatGPT. So these are just ways to find OER on different subjects. I'd also like to point you towards a LibGuide that CCCC has created on OER. Here's a direct link, and I'll send out these slides to whoever attends. But let me show you what that looks like on our website. If you go to the library's website and you want to find our research guide on OER, you just go to our library front page, click on research guide. There's a drop-down menu. And if you scroll down to faculty and staff, we have several here for you. And OER Toolbox is right here. If you click on that, you'll see that we have all kinds, we'll tell you all about OER in more detail here on our LibGuide. And then, okay. You'll see more OER links on our LibGuide right here. There's plenty of places to find OER. So I will move on to using ChatGPT and AI to write or modify existing OER. Let's say you find some content in your subject area and you would like to update it or just add things more specific to your class. Here are some pros for using ChatGPT. First, it's efficient and it's fast. You can give ChatGPT almost any prompt and it will return to you unexpectedly high quality material in 30 seconds. I think you might be stunned by how agile and accurate it can be with good prompting. It's a great place to start if you are completely lost, which can help you in your creative process. You can start with very general questions. You can ask ChatGPT very general questions and then pick out what you like from what it gives you and then hone in on those or expand parts that suit you. In the same thought, ChatGPT will return to you diverse perspectives and styles and tones that you might not otherwise even think about. This will allow you to adapt your instruction to various types of students and will only enhance your educational materials. It's also available to use 24/7, and there is a very good free version. I have only used the free version, which is 3.5. You don't have to pay to get great results. But if you do like what you're getting and you want to get the best results, there is a pay version. I believe it's $20 a month, unless it's gone up. It also supports multilingual content. Right now, ChatGPT only focuses on English and Spanish, but because it does offer both languages, it can help your ESL students or English as second language students write more easily in their non-native language. So this is a good place for both instructors and students. The cons to use ChatGPT generally are that inaccuracies and misinformation can creep into what AI generates for you for a variety of reasons. It could be the material that it's been trained on is out of date, or the prompt you use wasn't specific enough. This is the biggest problem you'll face when using ChatGPT. Just remember that when you use AI, you are the editor and the vetter of the information that it creates. And there are ethical and biases concerns with using ChatGPT. Biases come up when I use ChatGPT to write. I wrote an essay on fat acceptance with ChatGPT. At the time, the free version of ChatGPT stopped inducting information in 2021 before the fat acceptance movement took hold, and it wrote an essay against the idea. Now the induction date has been moved up to January 2022, and it has an entirely new opinion on the subject. But even if you do see bias, you can instruct it to argue the opposite opinion or correct it if you know that the material well enough. Another thing is you cannot copyright AI generated text or images because the traditional elements of authorship are determined and executed by technology. You can copyright works that incorporate AI generated text in a creative way, like if you ask it to create ideas for you and you expand on them, then it becomes a tool and not the author. If you are interested in publishing, you should check into copyright more carefully. I hold two competing minds on the subject. I hesitate even to look at a book that I think has used AI generated material, but I also use ChatGPT often in my own work. So I have some hypocritical biases myself, but let me explain. Basically, it's because I buy books on subjects I don't know much about, like how to be an electrician. So I lack the subject specific knowledge to judge whether a book on being an electrician is accurate in that subject or not. But I can tell the telltale signs of that a book is written by AI. I have this perception that using ChatGPT to write nonfiction professional books is slightly deceptive. And so when I'm buying on Amazon, it's tough enough to cut through the options that are available. If I really want a book, I can find a subject specialist to vet the book on the subject for me. And if an instructor requests a book, I will ask them if they know the author or if they have read the book already. If they say yes, I'll buy it. But if I suspect a book is written by AI and I have no way to vet the book, I'm just not going to buy it. And that has absolutely happened. I'll have some tips on identifying AI generated work in a couple of slides. Conversely, I do know librarianship and teaching a little bit. So when I use ChatGPT myself, I can tell what content it delivers is good or bad because I know the subject very well. So I feel confident using AI in the subject I know well. But does that lead me to depend on technology moving forward? No, not for me, but because I've already learned writing and the skills that I'm looking at. To me, it's just a tool, but would a student be able to learn, both learn and use AI for homework? That's when it gets a little tricky. My instinct is to say no. You learn long division before you learn how to use calculators. So, but in any case, for a professional to use ChatGPT on a subject that they know well, I think that there are fewer biases to using it. So some mitigation and strategies and best practices if you carefully review and edit your OERs and you're adhering to the guidelines and standards in your field, and when you collaborate when necessary, that you can use AI ethically in OER creation. So I mentioned some tips on how to identify AI content. I have tips. Not only that, but I have created an entire LibGuide on it because we have been coming across content that we may want to buy, like I said, on subjects taught by the school that appear to be AI generated. And I presented on this subject at a conference last year. So here is a link again to another LibGuide for faculty and staff that tells you about how to find whether or not tips on how to identify traditionally published works, self-published works, and AI generated works. And it's really all about the author. If you can trust the author, it doesn't matter what writing tool you use, you can trust the material. So here are the tips and tricks on how to identify AI content. Tip number 1, what is the date of publication? ChatGPT launched in November of 2022. So if it was published after that date, it's possible AI was used. Tip number 2, research your author. Google them. Almost any reputable subject matter specialist will have a web presence, whether it's a LinkedIn page or a dedicated author page. And as I said, read the reviews. You will always see positive and negative reviews for every book out there because people compete for your money. They might try to sabotage competitors. But if you look at the verified purchases, find out what they have to say. If they say that there is incorrect information in it, believe them. Another tip for checking whether or not a book is written by using AI is use the look inside feature. Look for repetitive language. Look for unnatural language, overly formal. ChatGPT loves to use bulleted and numbered lists. If the book has a lot of those, it could be written by AI. Look for grammatical errors. Are there weird uses of capitalization? Does the font change? Is the editing poor? All of these are clues that someone put together the book in a hurry with no editor. That could also mean that it's AI generated. And lastly, play with ChatGPT yourself. There is no better way to see how ChatGPT puts words together than to experiment with it yourself. Ask it to write you a short story or a poem or an essay, and double check those references. Because as real as they may look, ChatGPT creates references that don't exist. So be very careful with those. Bard and other text generators are better with reference creation. ChatGPT will create a reference for you. It will even add a DOI, but if you search for those articles on the internet or in our databases, you will quickly find that many of them are just fictional. So please use ChatGPT reference creation with caution, but use ChatGPT yourself and see for yourself how well or not it does based on your own standards. And you might be surprised by how agile it is in your subject matter. So in conclusion, there are pros and cons to using ChatGPT, including that it's fast, it's always available, and it can help you creatively. But you do have to watch quality control and accuracy. You won't be able to judge outside of your field of knowledge very well, and there are some biases to using it, both internal and external. But ChatGPT has enormous potential to enhance OER development or modification, if that's what you want to do, as long as you balance strong editing and vetting or use content experts. Then ChatGPT can help you create effective educational content. Does anybody have any other questions? If not, thank you for coming. I'm Allison Sills. I'm your CCCC instructional librarian on Lee campus. My email is asills@cccc, and my phone number is 919-718-7494. Please feel free to contact me about anything we've talked about today or anything else. And thank you very much.